to start off, as usual, with the spritz of the Urban Decay Skin Diva Skin Freshness. And then I am using my favorite foundation of all time, Mercier Flawless Fusion foundation. I think I've mentioned it before. This was my wedding day foundation. I find nothing to fault with it, but I do have to say, I was having a chat with this on with some of the ladies that I do talk beauty and kind of get feedback from, is they were kind of suggesting that, oh, should I get it too? But foundation, like skincare, like everything else, it does depend on what you're already working with. For me, I like a glowy base. For me, I don't have very oily skin, so this works out perfectly. But as I'm doing this, I might as well tell you what other foundations I think work for slightly skin types that are different from mine, that might be looking for a different finish to mine, which is not as glowy and maybe a bit more matte. In that case, I would highly recommend the Nars Soft Matte Foundation. I used the concealer and I've tried out the foundation, and I have to say it's exactly what it says on the bottle, you know? It's like a soft focus matte finish, demi-matte. It doesn't look drying. It looks like it sinks in beautifully. If that's what you're looking for, a bit more of a natural matte finish rather than the glowy one that I prefer, then you could definitely go for that. If you're looking for a slightly more budget option of it, I know it's not really budget, but the Fenty Pro Filter in matte also has a very similar effect and is about £12 cheaper. So you can start with that. Now, if you want to go really heavy-handed with foundation, let's say in the chin area where I find I have a lot of discoloration, I would go like this. Over here, I want to show you what would happen with a bit more of a stamping technique. So just going to do that. I almost push out with my tongue because this is an area where a lot of us, especially East Asian women, or Southeast Asian women, can have quite a bit of discoloration. For me, I have an actual spot there. So hopefully you can see why the stamping techniques works out better than the swirl and away. See, over here I go for the swirl and away because I think it looks more natural across the skin. But here, it has a lot more spots, but it looks a lot better concealed because I'm really getting in there, not displacing any of it. And that's kind of how I like it. I like it looking quite flawless here because if I'm wearing like a statement lip, I want that area around it to look neat and nice. Whereas for here, I kind of want it to look natural. I could conceal them. In fact, I'll show you for today how I would conceal them. But generally, if you want a light coverage, just remember, apply and swirl it away or move it around. And if you want it dense, do the stamping. And as you can see from my skin as an example, both of the methods work. Remember to blend on down to the neck so you don't get an obvious foundation line, which that's one of my pet peeves and I really don't like it. And you can see over here that with the precise control, you could have no shading here at all. You could have a light sweep across the face, like you see, nothing's covered, and you can have a much denser application. So you've got to tailor everything to you. Just like with clothes, it's not always one size fits all. You got to find out what works for you. And this is what works for me. So let me know which of these techniques you found the most useful. For spot concealing, we go directly onto the spot itself, right there. You could use your fingers in a jiffy, but this is the elaborate one. So I'm doing it that way. And et voila, it's disappeared and your work is done. No, it's not. Trick question. You see right here, I can pick it up. I'm going to increase my camera light so you can see it at certain angles. Do you see over there? It's like, oh, someone's just done a really bad plaster job, and they have. It's why in this time of talking, you let that concealer set in right where it needs to, and then you feather away the edges around it. This is a bit challenging without a traditional mirror, but I want you to see exactly what I'm seeing, and I'm kind of feathering away. I'm not going at the spot, I'm going around it, and I'm blending it into my foundation. And if you really fancy it, you could even just, you know, go over with your foundation once more. It would be a bit like this. Like, again, this time stamping for sure, because you're really pressing down that product in. You don't want it to move, you just want to quickly glide around it, make sure everything's unified as foundation unifies. So for me today, I'm going to be using the Vichy translucent one, which has been my favorite. I do have the ridiculously expensive By Terry one, which I bought as a wedding, you know, treat or something I thought I'd need. I've gotten, I would say it's nice. It does have the silica powder finish. Is it necessary? Is it an essential? No. But is anything? No. But so do what you feel comfortable with. Do whatever your price range is. I'm here to teach you technique, and I'm here to tell you about alternatives, which is why the consultation works out beautifully. But generally, any price point will work as long as it's a very fine granulated powder. It shouldn't feel like how the talcum powders we used to use back in the day would feel like. It has to feel very fine. It has to look like corn flour almost, if that helps consistency wise. So you can leave that be and let it bake, and you could use a lot more and let it really, really bake. But for me, again, keeping it natural, keeping it quick and easy, I'm just gonna blend that away with the same dual fiber brush. And there you have it, a much more flawless base than what I would normally do, but you've seen what I would normally do. So here it is, the base, moving around to the area with the spots. And you see that they're gone. There's one little guy peeking through, but he's a survivor. And here we respect survivors.